embracing remote collaboration, automation, and flexible work models. We already have our speakers joining in. Rajiv Sardana, he is a Global Operations Director with Wipro. Can we have a big round of applause for them? All right, and our another panelist is Mahmoud Zaki. He is a Cluster Security Manager from Marriott International. Can we have a big round of applause for him? And the moderator is Evita Faustina Francis. She is a head of business resilience in Middle East and India from Marsh. So can we have a big round of applause for her? So over to you.
I hope you're all wide awake. As she mentioned that you all have been rocked before the break. So this particular session is not something new. So I think we're going to show you a short video that talks about the transition of technology in our day-to-day lives. Now, for us, the old-schooled boys and girls, I would say, old school boys and girls in a way. We've seen that transition from PCs being expensive, and now we have laptops and iPads in school. We've seen that transition has changed. The way we work, especially when Gartner had issued a study specifying 74% of the world companies have changed the way they operate. They more looked at flexible working with hybrid and remote working and collaboration. So that's a massive change, especially since COVID. Now, apart from this, there was an interesting study that was done by McKinsey that spoke about 47% of the organizations since COVID, especially with more remote collaboration, communication has seen 47% increase in productivity. And for productivity for leaders, at times we think about dollar signs as well. So with that thought and process, I will ask Rajiv to share, based on the experience of managing global operations, especially for technology companies, what are the different methodologies and tools that you foster remote collaboration and flexible working?
Thank you, Evita. First, actually, I should start. If I say with a video, when we say the kind of when actually the conventional phone, then actually move to the our and Apple phone, this is a touch screen and everything. This is kind of all the ages which we have seen. And in these ages, I'm the witness of that. When I passed my engineering in 1992 and start my career in IT industry, I saw the laptop, computers, everything. This was, we start with the PC XTs, where actually no hard drive. Everything was run on the floppy disk. And with this way, we have a bunch of floppy drives, which actually we have to play that. That time versus today, and today again the time has come where there is no floppy drive, but everything running on the cloud. Things are moving from without floppy drive to now the without hard drive. So this is the same scenario, but moving in the different directions. That direction is keeping us in a different areas of working, and especially after this COVID, when we say entire theme is changed. Now actually if I say the collaboration, the remote working, collaboration tool, for example, Microsoft Teams, our Zoom meeting, Google Meet, and rest of the other many tools are there. Customized tools are also available in market, where actually we could able to provide the communication. It's a robust communication, provide the audio, video, calling facility everywhere. If I talk about the data, that SharePoint and such kind of different areas are there, where actually you could able to collaborate internally, provide the seamless data connectivity. One person is working on one sheet and other person can also work on the same sheet. This is the kind of collaboration, and these things are happening in a very frequent way in all organizations. And same way, if I talk about the project management charter, Jira and this kind of tool are already available in market, where one task list can be populated to everywhere. And if I talk about cyber security, because actually cyber security now is a prime focus. And as we know, 90% of the threat are internal one. And how to avoid this? Then actually it requires some seamless connectivity, including Zscaler, VPN, like actually in my previous session, my friends told these kind of enough number of cybersecurity threats and mitigation plans are already available. So with this way, it's a very seamless connectivity on the remote, controlling remote accessibility, and we are utilizing this. This is now the new way of working, change in, shift in the digital and way from previous one to new one.
Thanks, Rajiv. I think you touched base on a very crucial point about ensuring these communication platforms are not just there to collaborate, but also needs to be evaluated, integrated into a project management system. And security plays a key role. Zaki, I remember in our break time you mentioned about an experience of yours about security back in the day and how collaboration and communication is important. If you can share that key aspect to the team.
Sure, as you thank you. As you was excited to know about that story, actually, there was because of the leak of technology. We have a crisis in one case. It was real case. It's not just to try to explain in it, but it was a real one. And we have a bomb threat in the hotel, and we actually we have it in the some like small toy was touch from our side. And that time the managers he asking the guys in the CCTV to change the toy is not looking good. So the guy he was make some efforts, and he using some of old devices, and which was the wires. And after the training, it was leak of the communication as well. And the housekeeping guys, he put it between the trash bin and the service area. In the night shift, unfortunately, there was a guy, he was the first time to be alone. We have training him. He's qualified, but he will be alone in that time. And he was reported about suspicious devices. And the night managers, also we get the panic attack, and he calling the police before he contact with us. And that time also the camera, because the IP camera, as we discussed it with Rajiv, it was not there implemented in that time. So we taken a long time to find out who put this device there. And unfortunately, they called the local authority. And within a few minutes, it was midnight, around 3:30, and they called me around 5:30, you have to come because all management are going to the police station. And it was very bad experience for us because of the technology which we did not that time help us, because if we have like such as now in the patrolling, there was a device with the photos on the side, they can be acknowledged what we have in these cases. And the main pain, and in that time, the manager, he's now in Bahrain. He cannot, they removed from him the Sierra license, the cards. Even he's a very, very intelligent man. But it was this during the incident, even the GM himself, he left to other hotel. And we consider this as a crisis from our side, because if we get up, down during that miscommunication, and the technology, if it's helped us in that time, it will not facing this case. If this happen again, in this time, that was in 2015. So it's almost 9 years. Or 10 years, if this happen again, if this incident is running, it will never happen the same reaction or same result which we are facing from that time. And during that, when in the management changes, they was asking us also to remove all the data which we had. And I was feeling pain, and because of this data for us is like system, like holy system. Somehow we have that data, and I start to save it. Some of it as a partition, like a dictionary. And I start to make it from this book. I start to creating that the middle one, and the part of the like dictionary for security specific, and other for the management science, and the part for the in health environments, how we can build it in the career and security. That's the real story about that. Thank you.
So your experience turns into books, so that's a key aspect for individuals with experience to have journals. And I think Zaki had spoken about a key point about communication. Communication, not just about remote communication, it's about managing shift communication aspects. And also there's an element about a study that was done by Harvard. I love statistics, by the way. So you'll have a lot of statistics coming out of me in the next 10 minutes. Harvard specified about how productivity with team cohesion, with remote working, can increase productivity by 20% only by enhancing communication. So communication, be it a remote communication, on-site communication, having your right strategies, the tools that you implement, it has to be a tool that is an enabler, and that is a good study to read in case you're interested with about how you can utilize flexible work models, remote working in different aspects of industries, even for those industries that you need to be hands-on, physically present. Zaki, I know you spoke about your book, about that experience, about communication that was a miscommunication, that had disinformation and misinformation, that led to a change in policy where individuals were expatriated from the country itself and no longer as a licensed individuals within UAE. And I think that plays a very important role, though it was just a misinformation, but the UAE government plays a very crucial role and enforces laws and regulations to ensure communication that has a national impact of security is taken very seriously, irrespective if it's done within a small organization or one location. So we've seen the repercussions. I think those are first in the security domain. Now with that thought, I know this book, what you have, you put a lot of experience about how security came into play. Would you want to share that history, since you just started that thought process?
Oh, sure. Actually, when after that incident, I started to gather this data. It was a part of it, but I started to write about the ideology of security, how we think about security, and when the security starts servicing. Actually, if you Google it, you can see that it was a security service start from the pharaohs, from the 700 years ago. But in fact, if you make deep search for that one, we are not servicing people by person. I mean, like the guys which they going with the king or presidents or like bouncers or servicing guards. We are dealing with organization, and security is very important for organization. In fact, when they started hiring people to give them the money to secure the area, it was in century 16 in Italy, in Venice. And when the business is coming more high, at that time they started hiring security. It was all like all of us in one family, and friends and relatives, all of them, they are already have it in this business, but still they have to be more security in the area. That was the first one when they starting to hiring people. Before that, it was not a terminal condition for security because there was no option to reject it, and there is no deal. So that was not the basic one. The basic one, it was that time. And when they have started to have a property, that is in American century 17, when you have real estate publicity department to be registering, this is your area by law. Before that, we are growing with, that is the land for God. And we are growing with Mr. Rajiv is our neighbor, so this is his area, this is my area. But when I start to put the lines, and I say, this is my property, it should not be coming to this property, in that time, there will be people looking for the guys like he lose his mind. Because it was just to make a law. But by law, and that starting to have registering the documents that you are this owner of this property. In that time, they're starting a real one to have a security career or security industry, because they start hiring security from each of the property they have. In the big one is they have more numbers. And if you remember that photo for the cowboy, which you have one of the cabin behind him, wooden cabin, and he have mentioned security office, that this is the starting as the office from that time to have a security to give him the money to protect or secure the area and the property. So this was the starting until we reach that time which we have right now. All of this organization starts from that time to have need or have property. When you start to have your own property, that time which will be starting for secure the area or needed for security from the area. That is just in the general to put you in the view for it. Thank you.
That's insightful, Zaki. Now, one of the previous discussions that the person had mentioned about around 2,000 odd AI tools that are present currently. There was also an interesting study done by McKinsey that spoke about there could be a possibility if organizations utilize the existing technologies of around $2 trillion in labor costs. $2 trillion, that's quite an amount. Now, with that, that means there are a lot of tools, processes that we can use to enhance the productivity, efficiencies, automation, flexible work models as well. Rajiv, you are managing a large team at Wipro, managing the global operations element. What are the different techniques that you are using, the tools that you're using to improve identify the productivity factors, and increase the efficiency of the workforce?
See, if I bifurcate in three parts, first is the remote access, remote work model, along with the flexibility. These both are interrelated, where actually we are providing the outcome to customer, where actually we have a different set of tools and technologies, including their collaborations and the other areas, on which, considering the mind, keeping in mind that what is the customer requirement. If customer requirement, say, very first is increasing the productivity, where team can work anywhere from any time, any locations, but actually here they are the now, instead of just giving, I should say, giving in the time bound matter, they are the productivity bound matters. If productivity means actually the people has to give the net resultant, and that net resultant always come with the, when actually we are giving the flexibility to them. This is one part. And tool and technologies, like I already said, this is a SharePoint, and our rest of the other tools, this is Microsoft Teams, etc. This people are already using that, and with this way we could able to manage the in the right direction with a remote access and flexible model. And along with this, automation plays an important role here, where actually most of the thing, where actually the repeating task which we are doing on the regular task, for example L1 task, L2 task, there can be automated. With this way, we could able to shorten the manpower. We could able to less the it's a 24/7 operating model, and with this way, we could able to provide the right outcome to the customers as well to the productive session with the teams. I hope this. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think that one of the aspects that Rajiv spoken about is tasks. So identifying those repetitive tasks, automating that aspect, utilizing technology to ease your work, if that can be automated, having the right training sessions for the employees that can enable their skill sets to take them to the next level of productivity and efficiency. I think the key element will also be having clear metrics and guidelines of performance. When you utilize tools, there has to be clear policies and procedures in place. Now, just in a phrase or a word, what do you think the future is about managing, embracing remote collaboration, automation, and flexible? Just a word or a phrase.
See, every technology having some dark side. We cannot say everything is possible through remote.
Okay.
Everything is possible through without face-to-face interaction. For example, today we are connecting in this room. All our face-to-face discussions are happening. Here actually sometime interaction is required, that in-person skill is required. With the technology, with the kind of remote support, with the kind of remote accessibility, at one level we could able to manage. We can have maybe video call through one-to-one, but sometime it require when actually eye contact with a personal coffee connect is required with the teams. That is mandatory. Maybe actually once upon the time we were meeting every day. Now maybe once in a quarter or once in a 6 month is mandatory to have. So that kind of policies, process, and that guidelines which organization has to make. Same way, most of the organization has started instead of making the flexible model, they have give the mandatory option to the team members to come at least twice or thrice in a week. They have to come to office so that inter-collaboration can be happen, and connection with the, I should say, in-person connect has to be there. So these kind of some small changes definitely is required to get the right and optimum utilization of the associates and the resources. This actually we are moving in.
Zaki, your thoughts?
Thank you. We need to change the idea about security. And this was also a main point, how we can change how the people thinking about security. There was many of for special for our hospitality files, we have calling all the schools, classic hotels. They was have some standards. They will not be changing for many years, for a long time. Now we can see there is without choosing with hiring the guys without choosing by body, and it was a very big mistake. And choosing the guys who did have that fit body, because some of the other guys which they have a talent. Now we can see They can see the current security manager, the lady with high heel, and she's very smart and she know how to do the operation with the smartness, and it's strong as well. Strong is not that to be aggressive, to be showing that when I'm a security. At much you know, at much that knowledge, that is the strong one. Strong, that part of that personality that can be in the gym, not in the duty time or in the operation time. In the operation time, they will be showing the smartness or the security strong system by knowledge, by they know what's going on. We know what's happening. You know much more about even the team member from the side, from the operation, from the even the team training and coaching. That is the future for security. We know the technology now, it's most of the money it's spending for whole the world about the security technology. American, yeah, and Russian, all there will be competition to who can reach that side for it. Recently, we have a camera to be installing here in Dubai about can consider the weapon or the same like detector, metal detector can be showing from that side, and as well even we come with discussion with Rajiv yesterday about there's scanning for the face. It can be in the reception in the hotel, so no need to be passport anymore to scan in the reception, and from the same like NBR camera, when you have a plate number, they will be knowing where are you. Also by your face, it can be also. This is one of the nearest technology which we have read about that some study and they try to implement it to be scanning the reception by that part of it. So the technology is very, very high, and always we have to be up to date, because if you want to think that if we're not closing that much for, we will be far from the really to follow and tracking that technology in the whole world. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaki. In addition to this, today morning I was discussing with sir. And actually, when you enter Dubai, at immigration department, absolutely just scan the passport and go. So that kind of is the technological changes. And that changes, it's not come over the night. It requires some innovation, some ideas, how actually it's moving. And now new innovation is coming when actually person, the retina scanning, face scanning, and he will be passed through. No passport stamping, no nothing. When we have been recall around 5-7 years ago, our passport was full of the stamping, and we have to just reapply for the new passport because pages was full, and there is a no stamp. Passport will remain continue for the years. That not required. So that kind of enough number of changes have been happening in the technology pace, and that is also giving a good outcome.
So we have quite a passionate individuals as panelists with Zaki and Rajiv talking about the experience in delivery and security. Now, for me personally, it's been about trust and accountability, sets the foundation to build not just organization resilience, but also personal resilience as employees. And that sets a base about how I see organizations, governments, ministries enhancing and promoting remote collaboration and enhancement. So it's been a pleasure to connect with you all, and hope you have a great time the rest of the evening.
Thanks for the wonderful session. So can we have a group photograph?
Can we have a big round of applause for the key speakers joined for a wonderful roundtable discussion?
I would like to
So kindly stay back. Yeah.
I would like to invite Mitali to present certificate of participation. So first we have Rajiv Sardana. We have Mohammed Zaki. Come on guys, huge round of applause for Mohammed Zaki. And last we have Evita Francis.
All right, so let's take a photograph.
I just want to share, Zaki had just launched his book, third edition of his book in the UAE 2 weeks ago. So hence he had shared the copies with us.